The harsh truth about human nature, why betrayal is inevitable. Human beings are going to betray you. It's not a question of if, but when. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you can stop living like a victim and start embracing the reality of human nature. At first, this might sound harsh, maybe even cynical. It challenges everything you've been taught about trust, friendship, and loyalty. But listen carefully, this is the truth. Betrayal is inevitable. It is written into the very fabric of our being. The sooner you accept it, the better prepared you'll be to handle the emotional turbulence that follows. The sooner you see this truth, the more free you will become. We like to think of betrayal as an exception to the rule, something that happens only in rare, extreme cases. But I want you to consider the idea that betrayal is actually the rule, not the exception. It's a common experience in human relationships. Whether it happens in romantic relationships, friendships, or even in the workplace, betrayal is something we will all face. You've probably already been betrayed in some way. If not, it's only a matter of time. This doesn't mean that everyone you meet is a potential traitor or that the world is full of malicious people. Far from it. What I'm talking about is something much more subtle. The fact that betrayal is often driven by human nature itself. And that's something we rarely talk about. Selfish by nature, not in the petty, trivial way we often think of selfishness. We're not just talking about refusing to share the last cookie or hogging the blankets at night. No, this is a deeper, more primal form of selfishness. It's a survival instinct. The selfishness that drives human behavior is rooted in the very core of who we are. Evolutionarily speaking, the primary goal of any living being is survival. And survival means looking out for oneself first and foremost. This isn't an evil characteristic. It's simply a survival mechanism. You can't blame an animal for hunting its prey, and you can't blame a person for protecting their own interests when faced with tough choices. This doesn't mean that humans are incapable of empathy or kindness. We absolutely are. But we are also creatures who are wired to act in our own self-interest when push comes to shove. This is where betrayal begins. It's not about someone being evil or deciding to hurt you. It's about self-preservation. When it benefits a person to betray you, they will. It's a natural, instinctual response. This isn't to say that humans are incapable of loyalty, trust, or love. But loyalty, in many cases, is conditional. It's only as strong as the benefits people get from it. The moment those benefits evaporate, so does the loyalty. This is why betrayal often comes as such a shock to us. We assume that people will always stay true to their word, that they'll honor their commitments to us. But that's not how human nature works. When someone betrays you, it doesn't necessarily mean they hate you or that they have malicious intent. It just means that, in their eyes, their needs outweighed the value of the relationship. It means that at some point, your interests no longer aligned, and that's when they turned away. This is the brutal reality of human nature. Emotional versus logical decisions. The pain of betrayal is often so deep because it makes us confront something uncomfortable, the fact that humans are driven by complex emotional and rational forces. Sometimes the emotional bond we share with someone clouds our judgment. We believe that because we care about them, they'll never hurt us. But that belief is a setup for disappointment. People, when they're faced with difficult decisions, will often act based on what benefits them emotionally or practically. It could be about money, power, security, or even just the desire for comfort. In these moments, your relationship with them doesn't matter as much as their immediate survival or benefit. It doesn't mean they don't care about you, it just means that their own needs became the priority. We need to come to terms with this emotional and rational side of betrayal. People aren't always acting out of malice. They might still love you or care for you, but when their circumstances change, or when they find themselves at a crossroads, the decision to betray you might seem like the rational one. It's painful, yes, but it's part of the complexity of human nature. The illusion of loyalty and trust. We often live under the illusion that loyalty, trust, and love are rock-solid foundations for any relationship. We expect people to be there for us because we're there for them. But if we look deeper, we see that trust is not a given, it's a fragile, conditional thing. Think about the times you've experienced betrayal. Maybe someone lied to you, took advantage of you, or simply turned their back on you when you needed them most. At the time, you may have felt completely blindsided. You might have thought, how could they do this to me? But in reality, what happened wasn't personal. It wasn't an attack on you, it was simply an example of how fragile trust can be. Trust is built on shared interests, shared goals, and shared understandings. Another aspect to consider is the power dynamic that often comes with betrayal. In many cases, betrayal occurs when one person holds power over another, whether that's emotional power, social power, or financial power. This imbalance creates an opportunity for exploitation, especially if one party feels that they have more to gain by cutting ties with the other. For instance, in business, we often hear about people stabbing their colleagues in the back to climb the corporate ladder. In personal relationships, we might see someone turning on a friend or partner when they feel they can no longer benefit from the relationship. The dynamic is clear: if the balance of power shifts, betrayal can happen almost instantaneously. We must be aware of the subtle ways in which power can affect relationships. Power, whether it's control over someone's emotions, finances, or even time, can create opportunities for betrayal to occur. Recognizing these dynamics can help you avoid being blindsided. Betrayal is an inevitable part of the human experience. No matter how good your intentions are, no matter how strong your bond is with someone, betrayal will happen. People will disappoint you. They will let you down. And the sooner you accept this, the sooner you can stop living in denial. But this acceptance doesn't mean you should stop trusting people altogether. It doesn't mean you should lock yourself away from the world and build walls around your heart. What it means is that you need to stop expecting perfection from people. You need to stop living with the naive belief that everyone you trust will always act in your best interest. Because most people won't. Most people are going to act in their own self-interest when it comes down to it. But once you accept this reality, you become free. You become free to stop depending on others for your happiness, security, and peace of mind. You become free to focus on what you can control, your own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. And when you're betrayed, you'll have the tools to move through it without losing your sense of self. Betrayal isn't just a painful experience, it's also a transformative one. When we're betrayed, we are forced to confront a few difficult truths about ourselves and the world around us. It forces us to ask, why did this happen? What did I miss? How can I prevent it from happening again? These questions, though painful, are also an opportunity for growth. Betrayal can teach you about the weaknesses in your own character. It can reveal where you've been too trusting, too naive, or too idealistic. More importantly, it can teach you how to protect your heart without closing it off completely. When you learn from betrayal, you come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. You become someone who is no longer a victim of other people's actions, but someone who is in control of their own responses. You learn to set better boundaries, to trust more carefully, and to love more wisely. Final thoughts. Embracing the inevitable in the end. The truth is simple: betrayal is a part of life. It's part of the human condition. But it doesn't have to break you. It doesn't have to define you. You have the power to learn from it, to use it as a stepping stone on your journey toward personal growth. So stop fearing betrayal. Stop expecting the worst from people, but don't be surprised when it happens. And when it does, let it teach you. Let it push you to become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of trusting yourself. Because in the end, the only person who will never betray you is the one staring back at you in the mirror. And that's the loyalty that matters the most. Conclusion: go out into the world with eyes wide open. Be aware of the inevitable betrayals that will come your way. But don't let them stop you. Learn from them, grow from them, and most importantly, keep trusting in yourself. Because that's the only loyalty that will always be there when you need it.